is all new for him. Needs help from Kyron Lacey, who's a very tough to tackle back. They fake it to Lacey and flip it in the flat, and that's their big weapon. Daquan Wright.
Lane likes to run, counter. All right, so we're pulling the guard. We're pulling the tight end. All right, remember this play when we get to game number 1 later in this week. This is a top 5 game. I've gone back and forth if this is the second or third or even fourth best game I've seen him call. And it's important to also point out that the guy actually calling the shots here is Charlie Weiss. But it's the Charlie Weiss Lane Kiffin offense. And look at what we're getting here. This is what the Lane Kiffin offense does. This is as easy as it gets. Boom. Hit it to our tight end. Next year, that will be Trey'Dez Green, potentially Malachi Thomas.
Chambliss, slant, a dart. It's caught and right.
All right, so this is going to be a little bit of an adjustment for Lane going into next year. The slot wide receiver is such a big piece to what they do offensively, and I would have loved Caden Lee to be a part of LSU. He is now at Missouri. This is probably going to be Winnie Watkins going into next year, and this is such a good play, okay? So we're stacking these receivers here on 3rd and 7. It's just simple man coverage across the way, and this is a pretty easy read right here for the quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. Another good thing is when you go faster, you're able to keep the defense a little bit more static. So Wright creates a little bit of a separation here with the stack. The safety now has to match up versus Lee. And this is not the easiest pitch and catch, but we get it there and we're able to pick up the first down.
And right near the marker.
Matchup, favorable matchup. Roll miss.
Lacey plows forward incredibly. Credited with 14 forced missed tackles against Washington. That's a huge number against the Cougars last week. 2nd and 10. Wide open. Dribbling was kind of ignored.
One thing you can say about the LSU offense, whether it was Jaden or Garrett, is that they were really good at recognizing off coverage and playing comebacks, right? So if this guy's playing this far off of you, this could be an option route where if they're playing this far off, we just snap it and just make a little simple pitch and catch. This was one thing, though, that we were good at. Opposite hash throws to the far side. And guess what? We get it to Stribling there for a nice gain.
Big push in there, and that's going to be good enough for another first down. Georgia defensive front not in the game here. Chambliss out quickly. Caught. Lacey.
God, this is just so good, okay? You're expecting, once again, another run here on 3rd and short. And what do? Well, instead of running it, you show counter again. But this time, the guy slipping into the flat is Lacey. Now, what makes this really, really, really difficult to guard if you are Georgia is when you get into the red zone. And Georgia's quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, one of the best red zone runners I've ever seen at the quarterback position, they're used to seeing this, right? They know QB run game is absolutely big in the red zone. Yes, it looks stupid that Lacey is this wide open in the flat, but you're really worried about a QB counter in this spot. So guess what? You could just read numbers and pitch this out. You could see this was his assignment. He's not able to get over there. And that's one of the best linebackers in the SEC. C.J. Allen got drafted by the Colts.
Against him. Chambliss is going to take off. Can he get to the pylon? He does, standing up.
And there you go. Right on cue. We get to QB run game. All right. In the red zone, it is an absolute killer. All right. So this is man-to-man across the way. It's pretty much zero coverage. There is one guy backing out here. And guess what Georgia gets? Exactly what they want. This is a really, really, really good defensive call. And this is something you're going to get next year with Sam Levitt at quarterback. A quarterback that can make a guy miss. And Trinidad sees if it's man coverage back here and there's a lot of blitzers, I just got to make this one guy miss. And it becomes really, really, really difficult for someone to eventually tackle me with them being in man. We get a good block right here by 51, and it's now just a race to the pylon, which Chambliss is going to win.
Off the fake, Chambliss throws it across the middle. National championship. Off the fake, Chambliss throws it across the middle, and there's that big tight end.
All right, once again, it's really tough to stop this. All right. When you have a tight end that could do everything, one of the most difficult things for any defense, whether it's man or zone, is stopping a slow releasing tight end who starts off blocking, dragging and leaking across the field. Now, this isn't really a true tight end leak where you block, and then you release, but it's still a leak-ish type of play. So if these vertical routes clear out all this space, let's just hit the shallow drag, easy pitch and catch, and we'll take those 15 yards all day.
Right is a problem. They're going to try to run for it. Lacy.
All right, so this is going to be the big question. So early in the year, Ole Miss's offensive line in the middle had some issues. Can the LSU middle of the offensive line, which has some questions outside of the center, Braylon Moore, who's pretty good, can they get movement? All right, so you can see right here, Georgia is in too high. They're tired of getting torched with the pass and leaks. This time, we are actually running the football. This is also really good play call sequencing. One thing that can help your run game is if you have a tight end who's shown that he could lead block here, but then leak out, that makes him actually pounding up in here as a blocker that much more effective. You see Georgia only has 4 guys in stances, and guess what? We have a hat on a hat, all right? It's 6v6, all right? All we got to do is just have Lacy bang it up in there. And that's actually defended fine. That's Allen right there, really good linebacker, but we'll take the first down.
Like they typically do this year.
The time they back everybody out except for 3. He squeezes it in.
Okay, this is some of the downside of getting a play call in late, right? You could see Ole Miss here. They rarely snap the football with less than 5 seconds on the clock. And when that happens, that allows the defense to get a more exotic call into the field, and that makes life that much harder on your quarterback. That's part of why Lane likes to go fast. And this is not good quarterbacking, if you ask me, from Chambliss, because if they're crowding the line of scrimmage and these guys are playing this far back, it's pretty simple. More than likely, these guys are going to be fanning out back into coverage. Now watch what actually happens here. Boom. All right. 33 is right there ready to make this play. And if he is a slightly better athlete and breaks on this just a little bit better, we're going the other way here. All right. So, I understand that's going to be controversial.
And it's a 12-yard gain and another first down.
By the receiver.
Winston Watkins, the receiver, was in the backfield. They pitch it downfield to him, and he's wide open. A little wrinkle. They put the receiver.
We've already done a 13-minute breakdown on this play. It's called RB Sale. I will link it down below. There's so many different nuances to this. Jackson Smith and Jigba ran this for a touchdown versus the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship game. This is such a sexy play where Winston Watkins, who's now with LSU, is at running back, and we're running vertical here, shallow here, and the running back is actually running the sail, or what can also be classified as flood. All right, this is how Ole Miss really got things going versus Miami, and actually got this wrong. It's actually 2 verticals on the outside. Then we have Kawan Lacy leaking out into the flat. God, this is such good sequencing because you remember earlier on a 3rd down, we hit Lacy for a big gain right here. So if this guy crashes down, we hit this to Watkins running out here. Okay, we get good protection. And guess what? If this guy or both of these guys are back on Watkins, we hit this into the flat for a nice gain. But both of them actually bite down on Lacy, and that's wide the frick open, even with a little bit of pressure. Boom. Nobody runs sail better than Lane.
Lacy, easy. Bulldogs.
PHL Nation, today's video is presented by Prize Picks, baby. Use the promo code down below, HMA. You get a nice little bonus after your first $5 play. So we're going to start off with Jay Jettis, and let's actually stay in the state of Louisiana. Shout out Murmur's Fried Chicken in Opelousas, Louisiana. We're going more for CeeDee Lamb, a big season with Dakota Rain Prescott, another Louisiana native. And let's go more on Chris Olave. Now, here's the thing. You can put down as low as $1. Are you kidding me? I've been playing like crazy. So let's keep it small here. But that $5 play, you do get that $50 bonus.
Trinidad Chambliss on the edge, pitch down, and the catch is made by Caleb Odin, the tight end, and he runs.
So now we're in 12 personnel, but now we get really sexy with the actual players that are on the field. We take out Daquan Wright, but Ole Miss had the deepest tight end room in the SEC, maybe outside of Georgia. Luke Haas, who's an Arkansas transfer, and Kelly here is also a really, really, really good player. So we motion Haas out of 12 personnel. Then we show that same counter, but this time we have a slip here to Kelly, okay? And look at how easy that is. Makes C.J. Allen miss, and we pick up a big gain.
Nice gain, picks up a first down. Cushion on the far side.
This is a benefit of going fast. All right, we have a corner bailing out on a tight end who's never beating him vertically. And boom. Pitch and catch into the boundary. We know he's going to stop right here. Boom. We'll take that all day, every day. Once again, we're still in the same personnel grouping. It's one thing you'll understand about a Lane Kiffin offense. There's not going to be a lot of substitutions.
Play by Olin, that's enough for a first down. Kiffin's offense 4 for 4 on third so far. Lacey goes in motion. Chambliss takes off. Can he escape? He does. He reaches. Ramble is in Sanford Stadium, and he has been nearly flawless so far. That's Stribling in his 47th start. Now they try to bring pressure, but it's picked up. Launch to the corner, and a flag comes out.
Okay, all-out blitz. There's no deep safety right here. Corner's playing up on him. I just take a shot, and boom. One's a really good player, too.
Comes out
from the previous spot.
Lobs it. Ray Wallace in the backfield takes the pitch, looking to throw it, lobs it into the back of the end zone to Stribling. A flag is down along.
Number 1, by rule, a foul occurred in the end zone. The ball be placed at the 2-yard line. First.
All right, now we're getting really exotic here. We have Harrison Wallace at running back, Lacey at wide receiver. So we flip the wide receiver and the running back, and then we bring in a real blocking tight end. So this is a tight end 4 on Ole Miss's team, and we run a pitch, and then we have a leak from this tight end, or that's actually Stribling. God, that was a really good throw right there by Wallace. Whether it's a running back, we take the quarterback out. Actually, we keep Chambliss in. We bring in Austin Simmons, the backup quarterback, and now it's a direct snap to Quan Lacey. Lots of direct snaps. All right, so we have 2 different quarterbacks on the field, and we snap it to neither of them. All right, got to keep them guessing, and we score.
Namaste, Zen out there. Just keep doing what you're doing if you can. Uh-oh, breaking free. Stribling in a foot race. Down the sideline. An electric touchdown. Ole Miss still perfect. 75 yards.
And Lane Kiffin, who's fired up, he saw something from the sideline.
Second down play call, and you can see Lane is signaling, hey, we want to take advantage of whatever this is over here, okay? You can see he's patting his head and making a change here. All right, they change it as well. And basically the audible here is just we're going to snap off these routes, all right? With this guy playing this far off, we know we can get it out to Stribling. We also have to know that some of these guys are going to back out here, all right? So even with, actually none of them backed out. So now it's straight 0, and all we have to do is break 1 tackle, and we're gone, all right? Boom. Everett misses that tackle. It's a bold call to go all-out blitz from their own 25-yard line. And now it's just off to the races. And look at Lane. Look at that man go. Look at that. Look at the ball boy go. Is that Capital One Brian? I like it. No, it's not. It's somebody else. That dude can run.
Get a single stop at Georgia or 3-man rush. Long throw sidelines. Going up to get it is Alexander.
What a catch here to lay out. Tight coverage. The left hand and arm goes up. He's inbounds.
That's just nasty. We'll keep it going.
Direct snap. Lacey to Chambliss. Are you kidding me? Looking to throw the ball as Alexander. And just fake it to him. He scoots down the sidelines. Trickery on 4th and 1.
Lane, in his early stages at Ole Miss, had some issues with 4th down decision-making. This is a clear go for it. But then he also had some issues with actual 4th down play calling. What Lane elected to do this year with this 4th and short was get really exotic with tricks, right? They're able to pick up a crucial 4th and short versus South Carolina with the reverse. This time, we're faking the reverse, and then we just have Chambliss running it to the flat, and then we just give him an option to make a play. All right. Lane, with 4th and shorts in the past, got very creative with J.J. Pegues, a defensive tackle, getting direct snaps. So this is just really, really, really good stuff. It's hard to guard, and it's enough for a first down.
Trickery on 4th and 1
of this tough environment.
Chambliss, there's a slant. He's caught by Trey Wallace.
So one thing that really hurt this Georgia defense was they didn't have that elite edge rusher. They had 2 first-round edge rushers. So if you're going to generate pressure, when you play the better quarterbacks and the better play callers and you have to blitz, they're just going to pick you apart. It's just how it works, right? It's almost as if the better play callers and better quarterbacks want you to blitz, especially ones like Chambliss, who is really, really, really elusive. And you can see Georgia's defense is in an absolute mess. This is going for a good gain, but Chambliss makes the right decision to just throw the stop, boom, easy pitch and catch. And that was a good job by that guard, Kustis, to get up there and push the pile.
After halftime, he's getting real simple. Heads to the perimeter. Nope, they're going to try to run right into it. And Chambliss, touchdown.
Is over 200 yards on the ground. He hasn't gotten a lot of help from his running game today. It's been all him.
He's thrown for 262. Looking for more.
All right. One of the biggest misses, arguably, in college football history, and I'll tell you why. First thing, Trinidad was amazing. This is going to be the first kind of bad breakdown because this was such a big miss. It's funny to me that Ole Miss fans like to victory lap Lane and saying that, hey, Lane didn't beat Georgia in the regular season, but in the postseason we won without Lane, when the truth is Lane gave Pete Golding a 9-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, and the Ole Miss defense continued to choke. But that's a different story for a different day. This is one of the best Charlie Weiss, Lane Kiffin play calls I can remember, because the last thing I am thinking going into this drive is that they take Kawan Lacey out of the game. They bring a blocking tight end in, and now we have 11 in motion right here. We fake it to him, and we are running vertical here, shallow here, and we're actually running a corner behind it, all right? It's not an easy throw, but it's one that if you make, Georgia's probably losing this game, and Ole Miss is probably going to the SEC championship game, because Wright catches this. If this hits him in the chest, he's probably gaining an extra 5 to 10 yards after the catch, but it's into the ground. Trinidad's worst miss of the day.
Xavier McLeod that time.
Yeah, the ball gets out so fast.
Okay. I mean, does this get completed right here on the very next play? Probably so. But McLeod makes a good play, sets up third down.
Can't get in there, but you do the next best thing by knocking it down.
Is this the moment when the game turns in Georgia's favor? Deafening now. Extra rusher, Chambliss slings it, broken out.
I do have the all-22 copy. There was nothing open on this play. And Kawan Lacey misses a block. All right, so this guy's twisting around. This is a really difficult block. If Lacey gets a better piece of Allen right here, see, Lacey actually ends up cutting his own offensive lineman off right here. And now there's just really not a whole lot Trinidad could do. Obviously, in the college football playoff, he spun out of it and made a ridiculous play. There was nothing open down the field, and now you're forced to punt.
Play fake Chambliss from the pocket. Checks it down. Lacey is going to be swallowed up.
All right, so one legit criticism of Lane is that his fourth quarters at Ole Miss could have been better, right? You go back to 2024 versus Florida and then LSU and then obviously this quarter versus Georgia. You know, the last sequence when Trinidad misses Harris, that's such a big miss, or right, excuse me. And this sequence, there was an open dig to Stribling here, and Trinidad decided to not throw it. He obviously had time to deliver it. He hits a check down here to Lacey, which isn't a bad option, but it gets scoped out pretty easily. Now, I did not like this second down call. This was such a weird play.
Again, checks it down.
So they ran in basically two stops, kind of in the same direction, and then we have both of these guys pretty much in the same spot. And Lacey drops it. It was really hot.
Quarterback all night. They did there. 3rd and 9.
Little more touch in the pass, and he had some room, had a blocker in front. Here we go, 3rd and 9. Chambliss launching downfield. Battle for the ball. Making the play.
But this isn't a bad option. The throw is actually good. It's just a better play by the DB.
Really win it. Lacey. Passing game hasn't worked in the fourth quarter. Chambliss across the middle, low.
Yeah, Chambliss, you know, a lot of this came down to him in this fourth quarter. Obviously, it's mostly on the defense not making the stops, but man, this is just open, and they were playing obviously very soft. This is just straight up cover 2, and this is just an easy read. This is where we want to go with the football, the bending towards the middle of the field, and it's just low, not good.
He's been fourth quarter.
Job of getting after him and winning at the line of scrimmage. Even though they're not coming up with sacks, he's feeling that rush on these last few series.
Not looking nearly as calm and composed as he was for the first 3 quarters. Pressure comes again. Chambliss trying to stay alive and now just has to throw it away.
All right, this is just really difficult to deal with. Nasty blitz call. We had the A-gap player running to the opposite side. Both of these players back out. And with the center having to respect this A-gap player going all the way over here, look at how much space 51 has to guard. And then at the last second, if you're 51, you're probably thinking that the guy you're going to be picking up is C.J. Allen. But no, it's actually the end wrapping all the way around through the A-gap, and Allen actually goes behind him. So while this is not a good rep from 51, this is just better defense and good offense. And then obviously A-gap pressure is the worst type of pressure to give up. Now, the funny thing is we actually had answers for this. So we're running smash here to the bottom. And, man, if Trinidad just sticks with this, we have an answer right here, okay? I know throwing smash can always be a difficult proposition to the boundary with a corner like this, but it is there if we wanted it. And then we also had this, but there's A-gap pressure. It's a lot easier said than done. And get away with a little bit of a tug right there. Got to spin out and just live to fight another down.
Plays to get 10 yards. Plenty of time. Kiffin checking out the defense, trying to signal to his quarterback. Dogs moving around. Pressure again. Stands and delivers, and it was almost intercepted.
Georgia's defense just started making plays. Deep 2-man under. So we want to work this middle of the field, and everything just gets swallowed up to this side. So we work the backside dig, and the throw is not great. We want to actually lead the receiver towards the G. It's behind him, and it almost gets picked off. But even then, it would have been bang, bang over the middle there. And it sets up 4th and 10.
Cranking up the defense here these last couple of possessions.
I vote for the latter.
Yeah.
4th down, gotta have it, not gonna get it. Batted down to the line of scrimmage. That was Josh Horton again.
I'm not sure if this would have even gotten there either. All right, so let's just say this ball is not batted down and it's completed. Is that actually getting the job done if it's caught? Man, that's bang, bang. Just depends on exactly where the ball is located. If it's right on him, Everett's probably making this tackle short of the sticks. You know, if I was looking at this pre-snap and the play before it, they're basically running 2-man under, which is very interesting because versus LSU and our comeback versus Ole Miss, this is what the Ole Miss defense basically ran on every play. And that was in 2024, of course. 9 gets a really good get-off here, but if I was looking at this, I'm like, man, I get man-to-man. Even though this is C.J. Allen, I get Quan Lacey on him. I'm probably trying to work that matchup in some way. I don't know. But give the Georgia defense a lot of credit. But a semi-decent defensive outing versus Gunnar Stockton is probably getting this job done. Ole Miss probably goes undefeated. And who knows what Lane would have had to do with an undefeated Ole Miss in the SEC championship game. They would have probably played Alabama? I don't know. A lot of what ifs there. But it was such a great called game. And you'll see throughout this week of study that it's not just one style of offense Lane has called throughout his career. So let me know what you guys think down below. But there's no shame blowing a lead to Georgia on the road versus a great Kirby Smart. It is! Power Hour LSU. Boom! Floating in your face some other film studies. And tonight we are doing... Oh, we're in Italy right now. If you're watching this, we are in a completely different country. Tonight in Legnano, we're doing chicken parm. Let's go.